hear the bell? Greetings, my fellow freedom lovers, and thinkers. This is L3's News Podcast. My name is Craig, transmitting from the beautiful swampy mangroves of South Florida. And today's date is Thursday, April 26, 2018. Yes, I had to do another show today because I got checking some of the stuff that just came out, boom, instantaneously, and I have to put my 2 cents in good faith. Yeah, I'm along the New River, Fort Lauderdale right now. It's nice early evening. You hear the bridge? Yep, I'm by the New River, Fort Lauderdale, and just checking in, trying to get some Wi-Fi signal, but I'm winging it as usual, which is all well and good. So, before I'll talk about the national aspect, with everyone to be on a frenzy, you can hear all celebrities and all about the rights on the conviction of Bill Cosby. But first, something interesting came up in Broward County, Florida. And this came out from the Sun Sentinel. It says here, Deputy Union says it has no confidence in Broward Sheriff Scott Israel. This is from Tanya Allenez. A deputies union on Thursday decided it has no confidence in Broward Sheriff Scott Israel, citing crushed morale and national criticism of how the agency handled its response to the Parkland school massacre. Broward Sheriff's Office Deputies Association revealed 85% of the union members who voted, 534 to 628, said they had no confidence in the sheriff. The plan is send the results of a vote to Governor Rick Scott, urging to make change and replace the sheriff with somebody who is capable of amazing leadership. Jeff Bell, the union president, said the members have displayed great courage to come out and vote under the threat of retaliation and a reprisal from the sheriff. He added, amazing leadership starts from the top, and there's no amazing leadership here. We are a ship at sea with no power, adrift. In a statement, Sheriff Israel called the union's vote an attempt to extort a pay raise. I am accountable to the citizens of Broward County, the sheriff said. My job is to continue to do the job I was elected to do, which ensure the safety of Broward County 1.9 million residents. I will not be distracted from my duties by this inconsequential IPUA union vote, which has designed to extort a 6.5% pay raise from this agency. Those who reportedly voted in the straw ballot reflected only a small number of the 5,400 employees. The unions representing the vast majority of our employees solidly support the leadership of this agency. Broward Sheriff's Office Deputy Association initiated the vote last Friday. The association voters were casting ballots electronically since Friday. The organization is a chapter of the International Union of Police Associations that represented 1,050 members and is contract over 1,300 deputies and sergeants. The vote was open to all of them, and 628, including 94, who say still have confidence in the sheriff. Bell denied that the union motive was to extort a pay raise, saying the union has a long laundry list of complaints about the sheriff. The Florida Department of Law Enforcement, under orders from Rick Scott, is investigating how the Sheriff's Office and other law enforcement agencies handled its response to the February 14th mass shooting at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School. Gunman Nicholas Cruz killed 17 and wounded 17 others. I will say allegedly, even though he may admit a guilt, but I'm questioned about his condition toxicology report, and I'm not defending him either, just questioning. I will say that in good faith. He still has to be guilty, innocent until proven guilty. Bell said he'll share the union's vote with FDLE and would support the sheriff's removal from office. Meanwhile, another union, a Federation of Public Employees, on Monday announced it had renewed its contract by a vote of 1,111 to 38, which correlated with the vote of support of confidence in the sheriff. Huh. Sorry to hear about that. It's a vote of confidence in how you treat us and how you bargain unit feels about you. The union director, Anthony Marciano, wrote in a letter to the sheriff. At 252,500 members, the Federation is the largest union representing the sheriff's office employees. The letter said, the employees, so I don't know about deputies. interesting because there's stuff on here too you can look at. Broward Sheriff Scott Israel faces no confidence vote by his deputies, which it talks about that. And it's interesting when he's talking about the extortion. But a lot of stuff has dropped the ball on Scott Israel. He made too many blunders. And if everyone believes they're going to wait for Rick Scott to remove him, the people in Broward County need to take the initiative then on a no confidence vote and look at the information and do a recall, which you can do in the state of Florida under, I think, Statute 100 it is, Florida Chapter 100. I'll tell you all about it. Florida Statute Chapter 100. I know I've been stumbling here. Forgive me. But that's the only way. There's another way we can do this. Don't just rely on Rick Scott. That's how it has to do it. People in Broward County are fed up with this individual based on his credibility, corruption, and witch hunting, which is a major hot button for a lot of us. To me, a witch hunter is nothing more than a cowardly dog. And I've been saying this enough time. That's why I have contempt for this man. And another reason why I did not support him when he first ran for office in 2008, because he's a member of Homeland Security, which he's a federalized delegate. And I talked about that in my past shows, especially when it came with the Parkland shootings. I brought that up. You could go and see for yourself, and you can read it. I'm not making this stuff up at all. That's one of the areas when you make that announcement, blame it on a certain organization, even like them or not. Say blood's on their hands. Yeah, you just declare yourself, you're not a sheriff for the people of Broward County in my eyes. You're not my sheriff. He never has and never will. If I meet him, I will say that. Greetings, not my sheriff, Scott Israel. How does it feel being a federalized buffoon or federalized agent? But let's see how as far as the investigation goes at the state level. I'm not getting my hopes too high. I'm not getting my fingers crossed. But let's see how far this thing goes. So I'm going to continue on in reference to Scott Israel. It says here in the Sun Sentinel as well that do you still support Sheriff Scott Israel? This came out today as well by Dan Sweeney. It says here the Broward Sheriff's Office Deputy Association announced the results of a no confidence vote in Broward Sheriff Scott Israel Thursday afternoon, with 534 to 628 members who voted expressing no confidence in the sheriff. Union's 1,300 members were able to vote electronically since last Friday. I don't know why more of them didn't vote. Israel denounced the vote, saying the union's boss is using too shamelessly use the Parkland strategy to extort a 6.5% pay raise this year from our agency in a guest op written for the Sunset, which I'm going to be reading. But I'll let Scott Israel know one thing. The members are the boss. The president and all the officers in there are considered constitutional officers. They're not the boss. The members are the boss. Sorry to hear about that. Hopefully, I guess you forgot about what union is all about because you're manifesting your own pretentious world. Which is operating on that. But union members point not only to nationwide criticism of the department's response to Stoneman Douglas shootings, but several other factors, including some 6,000 gallons of taxpayer-funded fuel given away to Napa Auto Parts, according to WPLG's Local 10's Bob Norman. And I posted it on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, the main three. Check it out. Meanwhile, another union, the Federation of Public Employees, on Monday announced it had renewed its contract by a vote of 1,111 to 38, which correlated with a vote of support and confidence in the sheriff. Still, this is not the first time officials have called for Israel's head. House Speaker Richard Conkler, Republican from Land O'Lakes, and 73 other House Republicans were calling for the removal of Israel, a Democrat less than 2 weeks after the shooting. Given the heightened criticism of Israel and the no-confidence vote, we want to know, what do you think? The vote is largely symbolic, but union leaders have vowed to ask Governor Rick Scott to remove Israel. Do you support the union's efforts to remove Israel? And regardless of those efforts, will you support Israel should he run for the 2020 re-election for 2020? Has your opinion of the sheriff changed due to Parkland's response? Well, to me, no. Like I said before, I never supported him from the first time he ran in 2008 because, like I said, he's a member of Homeland Security and all his other fallacies and falters he made. And of course, what happened at the Fort Lauderdale Airport, Hollywood Airport, where some people say maybe a false flag, a stage event, but it was under his watch, and plus the Parkland shootings, and trying to blame it on the National Rifle Association and other gun owners and supports tougher gun laws. That's not a sheriff. That's a Captain Ahab thinks the world should revolve around him. He believes Broward County should revolve around this man. Well, too bad. So I would not vote for him in 2020. I'd do a recall vote before 2020, absolutely. I want him gone and all his lackeys as well. If he's gone, doesn't mean we got to sit back and be in a comfort zone. We still got to remain vigilant. Remember, the sheriff is an elected position. He's a governmental representative. You never trust the government. The sheriff, if he was a real true sheriff, he'll stand next to the people of Broward County and let the federal agents know, hey, how come you're in here without my permission? You got to go. See, that's a constitutional sheriff. He's a federalized one. Big difference. It's just an example when they try to federalize the police as well with all the surplus goods. Give you grants and surplus is what you got to do for us. This is how government works. Tyranny works. And all that stuff here. So, but that's one of the areas, like I said, I don't support the man. All right. And this here, the Sun Sentinel, came out a couple of days ago. Was it yesterday? Oh, yesterday. Yeah, perfect. 3:30 p.m. This is what he has to say. Police unions, no confidence vote is transparent political stunt. This is by Scott Israel, our Lord and Savior Sheriff. Put your hands up. I support my sheriff. Walk around is the Scott Israel self-defense technique. I should walk around Fort Lauderdale. I support my sheriff. Save me, sheriff. I can't even defend myself. Help me. This is what he has to say. The no confidence vote by the IPUA, International Union of Police Associations Labor Union, is a transparent political stunt intended in the middle of the union contract wages negotiations. You shamelessly use the Parkland tragedy to extort a 6.5% pay raise this year from our agency. But it's okay for him to make $186,000 plus last year, right? What a hypocrite. Everything else that IPUA President Jeff Bell is complaining of today's police body cameras, vehicle parts supply contracts, discontinued loaner gun program, etc., occurred prior to the IPUA endorsing me for re-election in 2016. In fact, Bell wrote on July 29, 2016, our members recognize the importance of strong leadership and morals, continued commitment to the community, law enforcement. Well, sometimes the things happen because even the AFL-CIO endorsed this man, okay? I'll continue on here. So what has changed since July 2016? Bell's push for more money had been rejected. Since last fall, the union has been bargaining for a larger cost of living increase than the 3% I offered. In addition to the 5% step that eligible deputies also received. Since the Parkland tragedy occurred 2 months ago, Bill has continued to use the threat of no confidence vote to extort more money. Huh. Bell also keeps throwing around an absurd claim that the Broward Sheriff's Office finished last year with $100 million not used. BSO is audited every year by the Broward County Commission. For the immediate past fiscal year, we returned $22 million to the county in general fund regional services. The unencumbered dollars. This represented roughly 4% of the total general fund regional budget and is considered an appropriate, conservative, and fiscally responsible management of our budget. Even the dollars returned to the county come back to BSO. Under the agreement with the county commission, the county retains 30% of the returned dollars and 70% is held for one-time capital improvements for the agency. We have used that money to replace aging helicopters, the outdated incident command vehicle, and other equipment. This is responsible use of these public tax dollars. As for what we pay our employees, and I certainly wish I had the ability to pay everyone more, BSO devotes 81.5% of our entire budget to personnel costs for all employees. This no confidence vote is an appalling attempt to use Parkland to extort an unrealistic pay raise. Nothing more. But like I said, one of the things that draw the line when you witch hunt, you are not my sheriff. I'll say it again and again and again. Plain and simple. You have no credibility, Scott Israel. I believe some of this may not be completely accurate. I could be wrong. But you speaking for the people of Broward County is null and void since you blame someone else for your four deputy stupidity, which in your instructions, the Broward BSO's tactical measures, okay, your book that anyone can get. I can thank Judicial Watch for this too. Can you have to go in when there's something like that at Parkland occurs? But you decide to go to BBT Center and blame the National Rifle Association for what happened. It wasn't the freedoms that got us, got that into the mess. It's the pathetic laws, so-called laws, on a federal, state, and local level failed. F minus. And that's the damn truth deep down inside. You and your disciples know I'm right. All right. So that's enough of my views on these articles about not my sheriff, Scott Israel. So I want to continue on here, talk about in reference to William Cosby. He was convicted of 3 counts of sexual assault. And let's read this here. Bill Cosby guilty in sexual assault trial, lashes out at DA. Jeremy Robick, Laura McChrystal staff writers. Came out a little past 5 p.m. Eastern Time. A Montgomery County jury has found Bill Cosby guilty of the only criminal charges to emerge from a career-ending scandal, fueled by dozens of women who accused the entertainer, once known as America's Dad, of sexual assault. After about 13 hours of deliberation, the panel of 7 men and 5 women on Thursday convicted him of drugging and assaulting Andrea Constant, a former Temple University employee who said she had seen Cosby as a father figure and mentor until the early 2004 night that he accosted her at his Chattanooga Township home. The 80-year-old entertainer could face up to 10 years in prison as a jury decision was announced. Cosby offered a little visible reaction but gazed down at the defense table, looking sullen. His spokesman leaned forward in his head in his hands. Constant in the front row, looking ahead as the guilty verdict on 3 counts of aggravated incident assault was announced. Some of Cosby's other accusers in the packed courtroom let out audible sigh of relief. A few began loudly sob and were removed. This has been an extraordinarily difficult case, Judge Stephen T. O'Neill told the jurors. Montgomery County residents who have been sequestered most of the month said as he thanked them for their service, "You have sacrificed much, but you have sacrificed in a service to this country, this county, and this town, and that is important." The verdict delivered the first celebrity conviction of the Me Too movement, Me Too era, in a case that many ways stood at its vanguard and shone a spotlight on the role sexual entitlement, a scandal-hungry media, and Hollywood's casting couch culture played in the ruin of a comedy icon. But in the end, it was the 13-year-old account of one of Cosby's first accusers that now threatened to send him to prison, potentially fit potentially for the rest of his life. 13-year account, excuse me. Andrea Constant came here to Norristown for justice, and that's what 12 jurors from Montgomery County provided her. Montgomery County District Attorney Kevin R. Steele said at a news conference, "Today we're finally in a place to say justice was done. O'Neill is expected to sentence Cosby at a later date, typically within 90 days. After the verdict, Steele had immediately argued that Cosby's bail should be revoked and he be jailed. He argued that the entertainer has a plane and could flee. This is somebody who has unlimited wealth, the prosecutor contended. I don't think any amount of bail can ensure his presence under these circumstances." Cosby spit back, yelling, "He doesn't have a plane, you asshole." The judge rejected the prosecutor's request, keeping Cosby's bail condition the same and ordering him to remain at his Cheltenham home unless approved to go elsewhere. The entertainer almost must undergo assessment to determine if he must be registered as a violent sexual offender. Steele said he could seek to make Cosby pay the cost for both trials. As the court was adjourned, a group of advisors and supporters ran to Cosby's side. He said nothing as he was led from the room on the arm of his spokesperson, Andrew Wyatt. Later, Cosby led lawyer Tom Mazzaro vowed an appeal. "The fight is not over," he said. Outside the Norristown courthouse, helicopters buzzed overhead and the crowd massed, including many Cosby critics who celebrated his conviction. "I feel like my faith in humanity has been restored," said Lily Bernard, one of Cosby's accusers, as she fought tears on the steps of the courthouse. As Cosby climbed into the waiting SUV, shouts erupted from the crowd, "Women's lives matter. Free Bill, Black Power." The verdict presented a vindication for Coniston, a 45-year-old Canadian massage therapist. More than a decade ago, the comedian has paid her. It says he paid her $3.4 million, a confidential payout, to settle a civil suit based on the same assault claims. But that was after her story had been rebuffed in 2005 by prosecutors who doubted she could stand up to the courtroom scrutiny. And then last year, another jury was unable to unanimously agree about her claims. They also delivered a victory to Steele, who through 2 trials has come under attack from Cosby, his wife, and defense team that accused him of corruptly targeting an innocent man to feed his own political ambitions. Still, Steele vowed to press on after Cosby's first trial in June resulted in a hung jury and mistrial. He returned to court April 9th with a case that was in many ways stronger than before. This time, jurors heard from the parade of 5 other Cosby accusers, including supermodel and reality TV show staple Janice Dixon, each of whom in days of emotional testimony alleged, like Coniston, that Cosby approached them as mentors, knocked them out with pills, and then took advantage of them. He is nothing like the image he plays on TV, Assistant District Attorney Kristen Faden said in her closing argument to jurors Tuesday. He utilized an image and cloaked it around himself so he could gain the trust of young, unsuspecting women to sexually assault them and strip their ability to say no. Cosby, too, had revamped his defense strategy between the 2 trials. His new team of lawyers, led by attorneys Tom Mazzaro, Kathleen Bliss, and Becky S. James. Interesting. You have a defense team on a mistrial and you get a whole new team. A whole new slate, I would say. Came to court determined this time to hold nothing back. During his own blistering closing arguments, Bliss lobbied scathing attacks. Each of the accusers had testified, dismissing them all as either failed starlets, liars, or sexually promiscuous gold diggers. This case isn't about justice, she said. It's about money, press conference, TV shows, sketchlessly coverage, and ratings sex sells. Interesting there, okay? That's what it was counts this team. But defense reserved their most aggressive assault for the women whose testimony ultimately mattered most. Constant. In the first trial, Cosby's lawyers painted her 2004 sexual encounter with an entertainer as romantic and consensual a liaison. She only later decided she was an assault. This time, however, Mazzaro and his colleagues painted Costaband's entire relationship with the client as part of a long con. When they eventually secured a settlement from Cosby in 2006, and one she laid out in detail to a Temple colleague who told jurors that Constance once told her that she could not fabricate sexual assault claims against a celebrity in order to make money. She knew Mr. Cosby was extremely wealthy, Mazzaro told jurors at the start of the trial. She knew exactly what she was doing, and ladies and gentlemen, she pulled it off. Still over of 2 days of testimony earlier this month, Constance stuck to the story she has been telling for more than a decade. Then that in Cosby had invited her to the Cheltenham mansion, gave her 3 blue pills, and then assaulted her when she was paralyzed and powerless to resist. At the time, she was working for the women's basketball program at Temple University, where Cosby was the most famous alumni and a powerful member of the Board of Trustees. She testified that after viewing Cosby as a mentor and father figure, it took her more than a year to decide to report the incident to police. The fact that Constance's allegations landed Cosby in the courtroom all came after an deplorable series of events that started in Philadelphia Comedy Club and decades after Constance's attack. In a stinging rebuke that later went viral, comedian Hannibal Buress lambasted Cosby over Constance's long-standing but then largely forgotten allegations. His 2014 routine opened floodgates that resulted in a 2-year onslaught of accusations from more than 60 other women who credited the renewed scrutiny for their own decision to come forward. Many, for the first time, and alleged they too, had been drugged and molested by the entertainer. So it's interesting there too on what happened. So all the stuff he's taking these pills, all that good stuff, and all that really sick ordeal. Hold on here. Boom, boom, boom. Yes. All right. Well, looks like I dropped the ball somewhere. I'll be right back. All right. So I got it back. This actually came from the Orlando Sentinel, and originally by the Associated Press, Bill, Michael R. Sayak, and Claudia Lawler. And it came out today. It came from Norristown, Pennsylvania. We all know who the real Bill Cosby was, prosecutor said after comedian convicted in sexual assault retrial. After decades of whisper, lawsuits, investigations, and closed calls, and a multitude of women who lost hope anyone would ever believe their word against of America's dad, Bill Cosby could be on his way to prison at the age of 80 for the remainder of his life. The comedian was convicted Thursday of drugging and molesting Andrea Constant and his suburban Philadelphia 14 years ago. In a verdict women advocates call a turning point in the Me Too movement that proved what Cosby's accusers had been saying all along, that his nice guy image was a sham. Lily Bernard, who said Cosby sexually assaulted her before giving her a one-time role on The Cosby Show in '92, became so emotional in the courtroom gallery that she accidentally banged her forehead on the bench in front of her. I am overcome with gratitude, Bernard, sobbing, said the outside the courthouse. I feel like I have to pinch myself. I am awake. It's a miracle. The verdict in the first big celebrity trial of the Me Too era sealed the spectacular life-in-line downfall of an entertainer who broke racial barriers in Hollywood on his way to TV superstardom, as a sweater-wearing, wisdom-dispensing Dr. Cliff Huxtable. If it was the only criminal case to arise from a barrage of allegations from more than 60 women who said Cosby drugged and molested them over a span of 5 decades. but those whose stories were often disbelieved or ignored years before Me Too put a spotlight on sexual misconduct by powerful men. The jury of 7 men and 5 women deliberated for 14 hours over 2 days before convicting Cosby of violating Constant in 2004. Constant, a 45-year-old Temple University women's basketball administrator, said Cosby knocked her out with 3 blue pills he called your friends, and then penetrated her with his fingers as she lay immobilized. Unable to resist or say no, Cosby claimed the encounter was consensual, saying he gave her the cold and allergy medicine Benadryl to relax. Cosby stared straight ahead as the verdict was read, but moments later lashed out loudly at District Attorney Kevin Steele after the prosecutor demanded Cosby be sent immediately to jail. Steele told the judge Cosby has the plane and might flee. Of course, like I said before, Cosby angrily denied he has a plane and called Steele an asshole, shouting, "I'm sick of him." Judge Stephen O'Neill decided Cosby can remain free on $1 million bail while he awaiting sentencing, but restricted him to Montgomery County, where his home is. No sentencing date was set. Cosby waved to the crowd outside the courthouse, got in an SUV, and left without saying anything. His lawyer, Tom Missouri, declared the fight is not over and said he will appeal. Shrieks erupted in the courtroom when the verdict was announced, and some of Cosby's accusers whimpered and cried. Constant remained stoic, then hugged her lawyer and members of the prosecution team. The verdict came after a 2-week retrial in which prosecutors had more courtroom weapons at their disposal than they did the first time. They put other 5 women on the stand who testified that Cosby married for 54 years, drugged and violated them too. At Cosby's first trial, which ended in a deadlocked jury less than a year ago, only one additional accuser was allowed to testify. Justice has been done, celebrity attorney Gloria Allred, who represents some of the Cosby's accusers, said on the courthouse steps, "We're so happy that finally we can say women are believed." And I'll be honest, I'm not too crazy about Gloria Allred in general. Sometimes she just really shoots her mouth off. But this is like the least thing about her right now. So that's all. I'll just leave it at that. The district attorney became teary-eyed as he commended Constant for what he said was courage in coming forward. As Constant stood silently behind him in a bright white blazer, Steele apologized to her for a previous DA's decision in 2005 not to charge Cosby. Cosby was a man who has evaded this moment for far too long, Steele said. He used his celebrity and he used his wealth, he used his network of supporters to help him conceal his crimes. He added, "Now, we really know today who was really behind that act, who the Bill Cosby was. Cosby could end up 10 years in prison on each of the 3 counts of aggravated indecent assault. He is likely to get less than that under state sentencing guidelines, but given his age, even a modest term could mean he will die behind bars." The fallout from the verdict was immediate. Bounce, a TV network that caters to black viewers, announced it will drop reruns of The Cosby Show, and Carnegie Mellon University in Pittsburgh revoked an honorary degree awarded in 2007. Since Cosby's first trial, the Me Too movement has taken down powerful men in rapid succession, among them Harvey Weinstein, Matt Lauer, Kevin Spacey, and Senator Al Franken. During closing arguments, Cosby's lawyers slammed Me Too, calling Cosby his victim. It's likely liken it to a witch hunt or a lynching. Cosby's new defense team, led by Missouri, is the celebrity attorney who won an acquittal for Michael Jackson on child molestation charges, launched a ferocious attack on Constant during the trial, calling her a con artist and pathological liar who framed Cosby to get rich. The star witness for the defense was Marguerite Jackson, Temple employee, who testified that Constant once spoke of setting up a prominent person and suing. Constant sued Cosby after prosecutors initially declined to file charges. There's a train going by. Sorry about that. Selling with him for nearly $3.4 million over a decade ago. Cosby's defense team derided the other accuser as home records and suggested that he made up their stories in a bid for money and fame. But Cosby himself had long ago confirmed some of the rumors about drugs and extramarital sex. In a deposition he gave over a decade ago, as part of the Constance lawsuit, he acknowledged he had obtained Quaaludes to give women and want to have sex with. Okay, so we'll just right there. Deposition, documentation, prima facie means on his face in Latin. The entertainer broke racial barriers as the first black actor to star in a network show, I Spy, in the 1960s. He created the top-ranked Cosby Show 2 decades later. He also found success with his Fat Albert animated TV show and appeared in commercials for Jell-O pudding. Later in his career, he attracted controversy for lecturing about social dysfunction in poor black neighborhoods, railing against young people, stealing things, and wearing baggy pants. It was Cosby's reputation as a public moralist that prompted a federal judge acting on a request from the Associated Press to unseal portions of the deposition. It is released in 2015, set Cosby's downfall in motion, prompting authorities to reopen the criminal investigation and bring charges. The Associated Press does not typically identify people who say they are victims of sexual assault unless they grant permission. Constance has done so. So, the main objective was that deposition. One of the key factors that got him convicted. And I wasn't really pay too much attention. I haven't watched the thing in its entirety. But just that alone, documentation. Mr. Cosby shot himself in the foot. Yeah, Quaaludes to have sex with women for consent. Wait, what the hell is that? I'm trying to figure that one out. You know, if you're gonna make love to a woman or a man, you gotta give them drugs. Give me a break. That's one thing that makes me laugh. This is another example about Hollywood, part of the Hollywood Babylon. And I can say this: he's only a pissant compared to some higher ups up there. Remember my earlier show about what's going on in South Yorkshire with the child sexual abuse scandal. All right, and even going on stuff that's happening in government areas as well, and human trafficking. Okay, what happened to Cosby? He's only a pea in the pod. Okay, but based on that deposition got him convicted. One of the key factors. Always remember this. And I heard Macron's speech about everyone get together. How do you not just get together? People think he's such a great leader now. Come on. Grow up. Get a clue. Go by our Constitution, right? Oh, yeah. Donald Trump's going to say we're a Constitution. Yeah, they said the same thing about Obama, all right? Come on. What do you have to do, folks? Us as individuals have those duties to uphold it ourselves. Registered voters. Exercise, implement. Tell them, hell no, it's null and void. They're not going to extort my money for your personal gain. One of the great things about it, separation of powers, because everything has to be done by steps. It's called keep everything in balance. Even the 10th Amendment, U.S. Constitution on states' rights, which any Federalists want more power for the states. And look what happened. Boom. So a little bit balances out. Not perfect, but it's a lot better. It'll be a lot better. So, you want to preserve it, my friends? Go by the book. Not these extracurricular activities, okay? Anything that's not constitutional has to be ignored. I don't care who's in there. None of these elected servants are lords and saviors, kings, or gods, or goddesses. And that is it. Remain vigilant. I thank everyone for listening, but feel free to download and share this throughout your social media networks. If you have any questions, comments, or you may send something that's interesting you may want to check out, whatever you do, please address your correspondence with decorum. You can hit me on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, Tumblr, YouTube, Freedoms Network, Minds.com, FutureNet.club, Patreon.com/3, and Gab, JB.ai. In addition, you can email me at lookaluck3 at gmail.com or lookaluck03 at protonmail.com. And just to let you folks know, patreon.com. If you're going to be a donor, it'd be great. It says 3 eyes, look like third, okay? All right. Once again, thank you for your time. Plus, always remember that demoniac resistance is healthy for the soul and can liberate humanity. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Keep on spreading love, and may your guardian spirits be with you.